To shift focus to the other big story we're tracking here on India Today, and that is the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat. Today he spoke of striking terror at source. He also spoke of isolating state sponsors of terror globally. But what was extremely interesting was his focus on de-radicalizing youth and isolating those who radicalized youth, whether online or in places of worship or education. Abhishek Bhalla gets you this report. In less than a month, it will be the first anniversary of the Pulwama terror attack. A terrifying strike that killed 40 Central Reserve Police Force personnel. And after a year that has seen conflict and turmoil in its wake, India today made a thundering declaration. From no less than its newly minted Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat.
So long as there are going to be states that are going to be sponsoring terrorism, so long there are going to be states that are going to use terrorists as their proxies, make weapons available to them, make the funding for them, we cannot control terrorism. And therefore, what is the final end state that we wish to arrive at? We have to bring an end to terrorism, and that can only happen the way the Americans started after 9/11. They said, let's go on a spree on global war on terror.
In his first public comments since taking office, General Rawat has laid out the contours of India's security focus. He has, in effect, declared a renewed and focused war on Pakistan's state-sponsored terror. As an officer who helped plan both the cross-border raids in Myanmar in 2015 and the post-Uri surgical strike in 2016, General Rawat knows that terrorism has to be smashed at its root. And if India needed any reminding, all of those roots lead to Pakistan, a state sponsor of terror. But as the country's new military leadership calls for a hunting spree against terrorists, the question is, how and what will be different going ahead? Since 2016, India has ventured deep into hostile territory to strike at terror launchpads in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and then drop bombs from the air on one of the biggest Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist training facilities in Balakot in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. With Shivarur in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today. Let me quickly bring in India Today's defense editor Abhishek Bhalla for more on the story. Abhishek, what was General Rawat hinting at when he said terror should be struck at source?
This was the first time General Rawat was speaking at a public platform as the Chief of Defence Staff, and obviously his comments are of immense significance because, you know, he was speaking at the Raisena dialogue where there were people from various countries, there were delegations, foreign delegations as well. So there was huge representation of the international community, and he gave a clear message to the international community here that the world needs to take on Pakistan when it comes to fighting terror. Pakistan has to be made to feel that they finally accept that they are a state that sponsors terror through proxies, and obviously India is a victim of that. He also said that, till Pakistan continues to do so, there cannot be peace in the region. And he was very, very categorical in clearly saying that Pakistan has been sponsoring terror for years, and it's high time that Pakistan is isolated diplomatically, and that will be a big step forward in curbing terror in the region.
So as long as Pakistan remains a state sponsor of terror, he was very clear, India is in this for the long haul. But Pathikrit, what was extremely interesting was his comment on isolating radicalized elements within our country. And this, Pathikrit, will set the cat among pigeons, This is an exercise that's currently underway in several countries, including Pakistan. Radicalized elements within our country, those who radicalize and those who get radicalized, need to be isolated, Patikrit.
Absolutely, Gaurav, the banning of Jamaat-e-Islami in J&K was the first step that the government took in terms of targeting the radicalization architecture. Look, in today's era, what is happening, the general is also talking about changing the pattern of fighting terrorism in the era of hybrid warfare and, targeting those who have been radicalized. Whether somebody gets radicalized offline or online, the government has a well-documented database of that. The question is, how do you deal with that? You just can't let that person you just can't let that person go free, because that person tomorrow can actually take up the arm. So the de-radicalization part is one aspect of it. The other is that certain amount of punitive action or exposing those faces is very important to actually put out a stern message to those who are actually radicalizing them, thinking that nothing would happen till the time that person actually takes up a gun. But we have to keep in mind, it is only a radicalized mind, a radicalized mind who takes up the AK-47, not otherwise. So targeting that is very important in fighting the entire architecture of terrorism or hybrid
this
warfare.
is a war, Patikrit, that has to be fought in the minds of some of these radicalized elements. And the CDS also spoke of some of these elements being as young as 10 and 12 years old, who pick up the stone and start targeting security forces. Then they could pick up the gun one day. But the problem would be if you isolate them, take them to a camp, take hardened terrorists or those who radicalize them to a camp, it would lead to a furor, Patikrit.
No, that is true, Gaurav, but you have a major problem in this country today. Look at how, things are shaping up in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, the kind of radicalization that is happening there. Unless we put the lid right now, we would have a major problem tomorrow where nothing else would be done apart from, bringing the army in. In 1980s, if the right kind of steps had been taken, there would not have been any requirement for putting the army in, because then, by 1990s, the local administration or the state administration was not in a position to control it anymore. If we do not take the decisive action today, then tomorrow, unfortunately, we might have a situation where disturbed area would be, declared in states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and army would have to, God forbid, an army would have to come in. Same is the situation with West Bengal, perhaps. And that's why the action is needed right now.
We'll be tracking that story very closely.